guys, what's up? It's Cole. Yeah, had a little bit of a layoff there. I got a little caught up in the Winter Olympics, Vancouver. Canada's best Olympics ever, really, so, why not? Well, I don't know if I would have thought they were the best Olympics ever if we didn't, pull out the hockey there at the end. But they made it, so congratulations to all the athletes, particularly the Canadians, but everyone. Even if you came dead last in your event, don't worry about it. It's more than most of us have done, so alright. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about manga. I just thought we'd have a little shift in tone, get something a little less serious, a little more, just for fun. And this is a pretty celebrated, well-known manga called Love Hina by Ken Akamatsu, who wrote and did the art for it. Came out in 1998, running into 2001. That's back in Japan anyway. That would be in Shonen Weekly, I believe. And then in 2002 through 2003, it was translated and came out in North America on the Tokyo Pop label, which has a lot of manga. This is actually one of the first that they had, and also one of the first to use the traditional layout, as we've discussed. Here's the thing, little warning, stop, telling you how to do it properly, but we're all pros at that at this point, we know. Okay, so this is just about a 19-year-old guy named Kitaro, who is basically kind of a loser. He's a ronin, which means he failed his university entrance exams, which are a pretty big deal over in Japan. And so he's sort of in between right now. His lifelong dream is to get into the very prestigious Tokyo University. That is the cream of the crop of universities over there. Kind of like Harvard, I suppose. For a lot of reasons. He's sort of an he's a very average guy. What they try to impress on us right now is Kitaro. He's not good looking. He's not good at sports. He's not good at school. He doesn't really have a lot of friends, and he's completely lost when it comes to girls. And this is all about girls. As you see, there's girls there, and there's girls there, and this is what this is all about. Yeah. So it starts with a bit of a flashback. We go back 15 years when he's just 4 years old. He's playing with some unnamed girl who's very affectionate towards him for some reason, and she says something kind of interesting. Did you know that if two people who love each other go to Tokyo University, they'll live happily ever after? When we grow up, let's go to Tokyo University together. And so they make a bit of a promise there, and he loses track of her, has no idea who she is, but he always remembers it, and that's one of the other reasons he wants to get in. But here he is. His parents are kind of sick of him being an underachiever, and they've kicked him out, and he has a grandmother who lives in the country who owns the Hinata House, which is a hotel, or at least it was when he knew about it, and he thought he'd go there and try to stay there for a while. What he doesn't know is that his grandmother is away on a world tour, and she's actually converted the hotel, which was losing money, into a girls' dormitory, and which he discovers upon arriving, having no idea. And this book, what this series is, there's 14 volumes of it. We're just going to talk a little about this first volume and maybe as a whole. Yeah, it's all about it's all about not love and relationships, although it's in there, but it's a little less serious than that. It's all about goofy misunderstandings and stuff to do with sex. Think about like nowadays 2.5 Men, or back in the day you got Three's Company, where 90% of the jokes had to do with sex. Same thing here. There's tons of just sexual innuendo and sexual tension running through it. There's never anything really graphic. It's full of fan service. If you're not familiar with the term fan service, that's something from anime and manga. This was adapted into an anime, by the way, quite successfully. Fan service is just like obligatory shots of nudity. It's usually not full frontal, but or unnecessary things, just for fun, like naked girls or a shot of her butt or something like that, and stuff like that, and that's what this is just full of. When he first arrives, he gets no one seems to be around. He goes into one of the hot springs and is immediately joined by one of the girls there. Boom, she's right in there. We find out later that she is that's Naru, that she's probably the most important girl in this first volume, that she's short-sighted, and without her glasses she can't see anything. So the whole point of this is yeah, and one by one he starts running, and she's like, someone help him, a peeping Tom, a pervert, and he just keeps running into all these girls, not understand what's going on, and they all think he's a pervert, peeping Tom, whatever, and he's just freaking out, and they're freaking out. He's going from place to place before he there we go, he runs boob first into this girl. And it just sort of goes on from there. There's girls of various ages, including a girl who's only 12, who turns 13 in the course of the book. Anyway, and then finally he runs into his young aunt, Aunt Haruka, who fills him in on the whole grandmother situation, what's going on. And of course they just want to kick him out, and by accident, when he wanted just to talk about Tokyo University, he accidentally impresses upon them that he's a student there, and their attitude about him changes. They are all very impressed, particularly the young girl, Shinobu, and so they think that's great, and so they want him to stay. He doesn't mean to lie, but it sort of keeps going, and you think that's going to go throughout the book, but actually it gets cleared up quite quickly, and once again they're really upset with him, and they're really mad, and of course there's more weird, wacky understandings, walking in on them when they're undressed and that sort of thing. It's always a situation that just makes him look like, he's trying to get some, and he's really not. But there's a certain undertone of honesty to this, like I said, every scene is just brimming with sexual tension because, and that's sort of the fun and fantasy of a book like this, like, it's just an ordinary guy, and suddenly now he's surrounded by beautiful girls, and hilarity ensues, usually. Yeah, like I said, Shinobu in particular is very impressed, and so she's absolutely crushed when she finds out that he lied, and they all threaten him. But then when he comes back, he finds out that his grandmother sent a fax that she's naming him the owner of the hotel, and therefore its landlord. They embark on a plan, since they seem to have great respect for his grandmother, not to go directly against her. So their plan is to just work him really hard and treat him really badly so he'll want to leave on his own through it all. Especially, the sexual tension is highest, of course, at first with Neru. They're falling into each other. There's a thing on the bus where he sort of almost feels her up by accident, and it's all very fun and lighthearted, and sometimes ends in him getting attacked quite violently. The slapstick humor, the comedy goes really through the roof with Kitaro, in that, like, sometimes he's on the receiving end of such violence that in real life it would really seriously injure him, if not kill him. At one point he's like knocked off a balcony, so that's how it goes. But as the series goes on, it gets more and more outlandish, the things that happen to him. They even poke fun at it later. They're like, you're immortal, and things like that, and that he never seems to get seriously hurt. Fan service? There you go, that's a good example of fan service. But that's what these books are entirely about. So the first arc mostly focuses on his relationship with Naru. The other girls you don't know as much about, a little bit, and things keep going. Towards the end, there's a bit with one of the girls who's really into kendo, and that doesn't work out too well for him, and that's the whole point. He's, the bumbling, stumbling protagonist hero, always getting in trouble. So anyway, he feels so bad, and also because of this weird promise he made all these years ago, his goal is to definitely do whatever it takes to get into Tokyo University. So it centers around him trying to study and also fit in with these girls while being a landlord, and just all the wacky stuff that happens. And in the meantime, there's just, like I said, it's just brimming with sexual tension, all these weird, crazy situations that, you wouldn't normally find yourself in, and that's sort of the fun of it. So yeah, I just thought it was sort of a nice departure from some of the stuff we usually talk about. If you're female, I don't know how you'll feel about it. You're not supposed to take it seriously. You can say, oh, it's just full of stereotypes and archetypes and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that's sort of the point, because, I mean, if you want to say it doesn't depict women well, I don't know about that, because does it really depict men well? Kitaro's our main character, and he's basically a loser. And, he's a klutz, and he's not very smart, but he does have a good heart, and he's trying to work hard, and he always tries to do the right thing, but there's always misunderstandings and mix-ups. And anyway, I like the art. It's very fresh and clean. The girls look very pretty, very sexy. Sometimes, at first, it is sort of hard to tell some of the girls apart. You really have to focus on their hairdos. That's really what separates them. It's not as easy in black and white, but Alright, so that'll do it. This won a fair amount of awards. It was converted, like I said, quite successfully into an anime. Alright, I gotta get going, but this is a message for my boy who got traded last night. I knew it was coming, but I still feel kind of bad. Literary reference that I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. Stay gold, pony boy. Stay gold. See you guys next time. Peace.